Shalom to you and welcome. In this video, we'll look at circle generally. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to write equation of a circle and then find the radius, the diameter, or the center of any circle. Definition of a circle. A circle is the set of points in a plane equidistant from a fixed point. So a circle is made by starting from a point and then a point in the circle. Any point, every point on this circle, it has equal distance from the center point. That's what that's saying, equidistance from the center. Right, given any point on the circle xy, and then another point a1, x1, y1, ab, whatever you can call it. The standard equation of a circle with center point ab and the radius is generally expressed like this. Now it may look like a lot to memorize because you need to memorize this, but think about a pattern. What does this remind you of? Something squared equals something squared plus something squared. Pythagorean Theorem. Think about Pythagorean Theorem because actually, from this pattern, the Pythagorean Theorem, this is from a triangle. If you look at this is the radius, we can draw a line. Oops, sorry. All right, let me get the line 2 here. Okay, we can actually draw a line, draw a triangle here. So this becomes a change, which you make a right angle there. Okay, this will be changing y. It's going to be y minus e there. And then the change in x minus a. So that's the change. The change in y is the vertical change. The change in x is horizontal change. That's actually what you get here. And with this, we can find the use Pythagorean theorem because this is r. The r is the hypotenuse, which is opposite the right angle. So hypotenuse square equals the change in y squared plus change in x squared. So that's y. Okay, so wherever you have it written in this form, it's easier to find the center. The center is going to be AB. Now notice that the default here is subtraction. So always make it subtraction before you can decide what your AB is. Right, if a circle is graphed at the origin, which means your AB, this is your AB or HK, sometimes you see it in different variable. If they are 0, 0, that would give you something simpler like this because the 0, anything minus 0 is that. So that's the equation of a circle with the center at the origin. Okay, let's find the center and the radius of each circle. So you look at it and then look at the pattern. Try to match it with the pattern. What you do here, first of all, we're gonna write this as x minus negative 3 because negative is the default, squared, plus, since this is y, we know it should be y minus 0. It's y minus 0 squared equals, well, this is r squared. R squared is equal to 100. So if r squared is equal to 100, what would r be? R is going to be the square root of 100, which is 10. So the radius is 10. So now we know the center of this circle is going to be the negative 3, which goes for x, comma 0 for y. And the radius is 10. That's it. And this one, x minus 5. So we know this is our h or a. And here we need to write it y negative negative 1. So, and what can we square to get 97? 49 is 7. 7 squared. So we know the center is going to be 5. Again, remember the default is negative, so this is positive 5, comma, but here you're going to have negative 1, and the radius is going to be 7. Okay, it's that simple. All I take is to write it in the standard form, and you can just pick out the radius and the center. And what if it is not written in standard form? What if you're given an equation like this that is not in standard form? So you need to write it in standard form first. So what we can do is complete the square. Remember how to complete the square from algebra. So you move all the variables on one side, and then move all the constants on one side, and then simplify. So let's take x squared. Okay, if this is x squared, let's put all the x together. So we have negative add 4x to both sides. That will make it positive when it comes to the left. So plus 4x. And then we're going to leave a space where we're going to add something, and then do the y. Since we are moving y is on the right now, add y squared to both sides. You're going to move here and becomes y positive. And then the other y, negative 6y, is on the left already, so it stays negative. 6y, and then plus blank equals, and then we have this negative 1 is the only constant here, is on the left. Now we want to move it to the right. We add 1 to both sides. You're going to get 1. And then plus, since we have 2 blanks on the left, we have to, whatever we add on to the left, we have to add to the right to make the equation equal. So how do we do factor by completing the square? We have to make sure the coefficient of the quadratic is 1, and it is. For y squared is 1, it is the coefficient, so we are good to go. So all we need to do is divide the linear coefficient by 2, and then square it, and then that goes here. Divide the linear coefficient by 2, square it, that goes here. And so 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 squared is 4. And so since we added that, we have to add it here too. And then negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. And then we have to add it here too. And so we have, if we factor that, we're going to get a perfect square. And so that's going to be x. So this is positive 2, so it's going to be positive 2 squared. And this part, again, we're just factoring the x and the y. And this part is negative 3 times negative 3. So it's going to be y minus 3. It's going to be squared. And then we add up this bunch together, and then we get what? Yeah, 14. Okay, so again, this is positive, so we know it's going to be negative. It's going to be x minus negative 2. So we know the center is going to be negative 2, 3. And the radius is going to be, since r squared is 14, r is going to be the square root of 14. So it's going to be square root of 14, which is approximately 3.7. So we are to sketch it. For us to sketch it, we just plot the center, which is negative 2, 3. So it's negative 2 for x, and then 3 for y, right there. That's the center. And then we get at least 4 points because the radius is equal in all the 4 directions. So we go 3.7 in each, right, left, up, down. So from here, our center, we go 1, 2, 3. 3.7 is about there. Okay, and then we do the same thing over here. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3.7 about there, just approximate. And then we go left, 1, 2, 3, and 3.7 somewhere there, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 3.7 somewhere there. Then we connect those dots, try to make it as smooth as possible. Yeah, that's not a perfect circle, but you get the idea. That's that. We have sketched it. Okay. Next one, try this one on your own first of all, and then check your answer. So again, we're gonna move everything, all the variables on the left. So starting from the I square, the negative x squared is gonna move on the left and become positive x squared, and then negative 8x, 8 is already on the left, so we keep that. And then we're gonna add something, and then negative y squared is on the right now. We subtract it to move it on the left, it becomes positive y squared. And then the negative 8y is on the left also. We need to move it to the right, it becomes positive 8y. And then plus what we are going to add. And then we have the negative 24 is already on the right, so we keep it on the right. And then we're gonna add a bunch of 2, whatever we add in the left. So 1/2 of negative 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. Okay, this is going to be x minus 4 squared. And y, 1/4 of 8 is going to be positive 4 squared. The same thing is going to be plus 16, because 4 plus 4, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So now we're going to add those 16 plus 16, and then we get what? We're going to get 8. Okay, so that's going to equal 8. And this is y minus negative 4, by the way. So the center is going to be 4. So this is 4 and negative 4, and the radius is going to be square root of 8. Then the square root of 8, which is 2 square root of 2, if you simplify it, which will be approximately 2.8. Again, we plot that, put your point for negative 4 right here is the center, and then we go all the 4 directions, 2.8. From here we go 0, 1, 2, 2, 8, close to there, and 0, 1, 2, 2, 8, 0, 1, 2, 2, 8, 0, 1, 2, 2, 8, and again we try to sketch already. Oops. Okay, that's close. Alright, I hope you get this. I'm going to pause this one, it's getting long, and then we write the equation on the next video. Thank you.